on Renee's Kitchen. Join me and my daughter Emma as we make her cheesy enchilada soup for under $11. Hey, welcome to another edition of Renee's Kitchen Budget Cooking. So today I have my daughter Emma Goodwin with me because this is her recipe. So tell me, Emma, what are we cooking, and tell me why you like it so much.
So today we're making cheesy enchilada soup. I love this because my husband comes home from work every day, super hungry, and I want a meal I know I can make in a short amount of time. It's going to be healthy, inexpensive, yummy, and that we'll enjoy eating the leftovers from. And this is one of our favorite leftover meals.
So. Yeah, so it's just the two of them and Dottie Lou coming in June, soon to be seen. Mm-hmm. And how many meals will you get out of this? Will you get 2?
Well, we like to make this when we host people, so we normally have 4 servings and we each get a second serving after that. So it's pretty easily 6 servings of soup.
Okay, mm-hmm. And you can make this go farther, like a lot of soups. You can serve this over rice. And we're not going to do that today, but you definitely can stretch it, probably double.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've also served it over tortilla chips before because of the Mexican flavor. If you kind of like add a little bit more cheese a different day and then serve it with tortilla chips, it feels kind of like a dip.
So the cost for this meal is $10.47 plus tax. You can see pretty simple ingredients, and everything is the generic brand except for one little thing, the Old El Paso red enchilada sauce. Pretty easy. So I'm going to take these chicken breasts. I'm going to put 2 cups of our chicken broth into a saucepan, and then just simmer these, just poach them real quickly, 10-15 minutes. And while that's cooking, we'll work on the next part of the recipe. So I'm just going to measure 2 cups of our broth. There's 4 cups total in here, so it's just half of it. And get this going on the stovetop. So that package of chicken thighs had 9 thighs, so I did 5 of them because I want lots of meat in the soup. And we'll just save the other 4 for another meal. It's a pretty economical way. And I like chicken thighs better than I like chicken breasts. Chicken breasts can be so dry. It's so easy to overcook them. And chicken thighs are way more forgiving. So if you go too far with a chicken thigh, it's still going to be moist, delicious. Mm-hmm. With the chicken breast, that's not going to happen. It's going to get stringy and tough. So definitely go for the thighs. Plus, they're cheaper usually, aren't they?
Yeah, normally most people, I think, just are used to eating chicken breasts, and so because of that, they're a little more expensive. More people want them, and so chicken thighs, while I think they cook up better and taste better, they're normally cheaper.
Okay, awesome. So what's our next step? While that's going, we're going to do 2 things at once. What are we doing?
Normally, I pour everything else that I'm going to be adding to the soup into a bowl, and I'll shred the cheese.
Okay, so we do have onion that needs to go in oil. So I'll grab that, and you start dumping all the stuff into a bowl. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
So this is a really big onion, really big, but when I'm doing soup, I go for more onion rather than less.
Yes, you'll never eat a soup with extra onion and think, oh my goodness, this is way too oniony.
Yeah.
It just adds more flavor.
Yeah, true. So don't do the seasonings because we're going to put those in the oil with the onion. Yep. But do tell them what you're putting in.
So this is a can of fire roasted diced tomatoes. So it's a little different than regular diced tomatoes in that it's a little bit spicy. And they have been roasted, so you'll see little black bits when you open up the can, and that's just from the tomato being roasted. That's all the yummy flavor.
That's the yummy parts for sure. And I hear the chicken starting to bubble and simmer, so I'm gonna go check on that and turn it down.
Now, with black beans, before you pour these into the bowl, I always drain out the liquid. Sometimes some people say to rinse them off. I don't really do that. It's an extra step.
Yeah,
But-
I mean, another episode, I think the first episode I did, we did dry beans. You can go back and watch that. It was the buffalo chicken chili one. If you want more beans for way less money, do dry beans, but you got to plan ahead because you're going to have to soak them overnight and then cook them, or you can quick soak them, which is like an hour. Bring the beans and the water to a boil for 1 minute, let it sit for an hour, and then you're ready to cook again with fresh water. That all sounds complicated. It isn't really, but this is super quick and simple.
Yeah.
Do you ever do dry
fast.
beans?
Sometimes. I don't really even know why. I tend to always have a random can of black beans on hand that I'm trying to get out of my pantry and put into something. So, as far as black beans, I normally use a can. Pinto beans, I do dry.
Do you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's neat. That's interesting. Yeah, I like to just keep both kinds on my shelf, and depending on what I'm in the mood for. I mean, sometimes we just do beans for dinner. It'll be beans and cornbread. And I definitely want to do those from dry because you can add a lot more seasonings.
The last thing that I'm going to pour in here is the red enchilada sauce. And the only reason why I buy the name brand of this is because there is not a generic brand that I found.
Agreed. I couldn't find it either.
I don't think that Old El Paso is like exponentially better in any way. It's just the only one that I can find to buy at the store. You could look up a recipe for it again and make it, but I haven't ever done that yet.
It's
I'll
so
do it
easy.
sometime.
And it cost, let's see here, $1.62. So it is a little more expensive than a can of something else, whereas like the beans were like 50 cents. So, but it must have something that you can't replicate.
Yes. Yeah, the first time I made this actually, I poured everything in to my pan at the very end, which is what you do. You just put all the final ingredients in. And I did not put this in and tasted it because I wanted to see, like, could I make this without the one name brand ingredient that went in it? And it just didn't quite have the depth of flavor. It wasn't bad.
Mm-hmm.
I think I probably could have blended up some paste salsa and gotten something similar. But I do think it makes a difference in the end. I prefer it with this.
Yeah. So if you took it out, it'd be like a $9 meal, but I don't think it'll taste as good.
I don't think so either.
All right, so my onion is chopped. I'm going to heat the oil. It's like a tablespoon, 2 tablespoons of oil in my Dutch oven or soup pot, and we'll saute that off.
Do you want me to get a video of that?
Yeah, you can. Ready? Now I have like 3 tablespoons of oil in there. So we're gonna let that onion saute for about 5 minutes, and the chicken is maybe got 5 minutes also left on it, and we're on the home stretch. I think this is faster than my buffalo chicken chili, which was really fast, and I felt like we just dumped everything in the crock pot.
Yeah, it is one of the most low maintenance meals on our menu that like Thomas and I love to go back to over and over again. If he and I are both in the kitchen cooking this, we can get it in the pot, just waiting for it to get to a simmer in 10 minutes, 11 minutes, because if one of us is cooking the chicken, the other person is chopping the onion.
Yeah.
It goes very quickly, especially with two people.
All right, so let's just look ahead here. Once that onion is sauteed, we're gonna add our spices. Let's talk about our spices. The cumin, classic Mexican flavor.
Yeah.
Gotta have it.
If you smell it by itself, you're gonna think, I don't want that flavor.
That's true.
So don't just smell it and then go, no, I'm gonna take it out. Put a little bit in and then decide later.
Yes, the chili powder, garlic powder. You can also use garlic cloves if you have them, or like 3 minced up, but this just makes it even faster. And oregano, which is a classic Mexican like herb that I didn't really know about till a few years ago.
Yeah.
It's just really good in this. So we'll put those in as soon as the onion is a little bit more translucent. Now, this is not in the original recipe, but if you saw the buffalo chicken chili episode, you know what I always add to soup.
Ketchup, always.
Ketchup, it's always good. But what we're gonna do is we'll do this first, then we'll just add this to taste.
Yeah.
1/4 cup, 1/2 cup. Listen, ketchup is a magical ingredient that you can't put your finger on. So we'll do that as well. Oh, also while we're waiting, we probably could be shredding the cheese.
Yeah, yeah.
So you need 8 ounces of sharp cheddar cheese shredded. I get the block. It's kind of a pain to shred, just a little pain. It's not terrible. But the shredded cheese from the store has this like powdery coating on it to keep it from sticking together. It also keeps it from melting really smoothly. So this is gonna melt better. So I always just take the extra minute. You've got the time. You're just waiting for that onion.
Yeah, you're just waiting for the onion to finish and your chicken to finish.
And since I don't like doing it, I'll let you do it.
I was gonna say, normally, if you have a kid running around, this is a good kid job because
Yeah.
it does take a little bit of energy to shred it.
This chili powder is really spicy. Sometimes chili powder is kind of mild. So just do according to your taste. And then 1/2 teaspoon of cumin. And my favorite ingredient, salt. Teaspoon of salt. All right, we're gonna saute this for just a few seconds. Add our thickener, which is 1/2 cup of flour. Saute that, and we're on the home stretch. Now you cook your flour for like a minute, and that takes away the like that raw flour taste that you might have otherwise. And I got my onions a little dark. We're just gonna call them charred.
They're like our fire roasted tomatoes.
Yeah, they're like the fire roasted
great.
tomatoes. I went a little too far on cooking them. This will help the flour brown though, and that'll give it a nice toasty flavor. Okay, the flour is toasting for a minute. Our chicken is pretty close to being done, if not all the way done. I'll bring it over here so you can see. You can see some of the fat and stuff in there. That's delicious. So we're gonna save every bit of this broth and cook with it. I'm going to set this chicken out. You burn your fingers off if you tried to shred it right now. We're just gonna let it cool a minute. That's Thomas's job, isn't it?
Yeah, Thomas is the dedicated chicken shredder in our house. 1, because he's very good at it, and 2, because I don't like to do it.
You can chop it too if you don't want to shred it with 2 forks. Shredding is kind of nice though. Sorry, did I splash you? And I dropped that.
You did, but I survived.
Sorry. Don't try not to burn your children when you're making this dish. All right, we'll set this over here. The flour is looking pretty toasty and brown. You want to get a close-up of those brown bits. and we'll show them what happens when you pour it in. So you can see, like, that is really, really brown. But what's gonna happen when I pour the broth in is it's gonna thicken up beautifully. But you do need a whisk. When you're pouring in your warm broth, you wanna whisk, whisk, whisk so you don't have any lumps in your flour. Okay, so we've got half our broth in with our flour and everything. We need to add the rest of our broth. Dump in all this stuff you put in that bowl.
Yep, our big bowl.
And then we'll shred this chicken while that gets all stirred up.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I've never made this, y'all. This looks really good. The flour really thickens
Yes.
the broth. I don't like super brothy soups. It needs to be either packed with vegetables and meat and stuff if it's brothy, or I like the broth to be kind of thick.
Yes. Yeah.
It's
More of like a
really-
hearty, like cozy broth. When it gets thick, that's what it feels like to me.
So our cheese is our last thing. We want to put the chicken and the cheese in at the last, so looks like it's time for us to shred.
Okay. I grated the cheese, so that might mean that you're on shredding duty.
Okay, that's only fair, only fair.
I'll get you your forks though.
All right. Here's what we're gonna do. We're going to, I'm gonna turn this cutting board so that I have more leverage on this chicken. And when you saw, when I pulled it out of the pot, I just put it on a plate. There's all kinds of liquid in the bottom of this. That's yumminess. We're not gonna throw that down the sink. Dump it in there for me. So, if this is just a little bit pink, who cares? No problem, right? Because we're gonna throw it back in that hot soup. It'll finish cooking. As a matter of fact, that's probably better than having it cooked all the way through. So you just kind of take your two forks and kind of pull at it. There it goes. All right, there we go. 5 chicken. This is half of the cutting board, guys.
I know, it's a lot of chicken.
That is a lot of chicken. So let's get this into the pot. Give it a stir. Done.
Once the cheese melts and it's warm enough to eat, you're done.
Crazy. All right, here we go. All right, tell me when you're ready.
Okay.
This is a huge, huge pot of soup. It's to the very top. You want to stir that in and we'll... Oh, wow. This looks so good. I think this is at least 6 servings. It could be more. It just depends on how hungry you are, I guess. But that is a lot of soup. It didn't really seem like all that much when I saw the ingredients, but I was trusting my daughter. She said it would serve a lot, and it does. So we'll stir it up, let it all get melted, and then we'll do our taste test. This is easily 3/4 full, this huge Dutch oven. It looks so nice. The color is really pretty.
It is a
bright
very
orangey.
pretty
Here, I'll
color.
move it closer so it's easier. You can see, oh my goodness. It's very chunky.
And it's also kind of double protein. You're getting protein from the beans and also the chicken.
Yeah.
It's very
Ooh,
filling.
that looks so good. Mmm. Okay. So, oh, you know what I always put in Mexican is a little dash of lime juice.
Yeah.
Like
super
just
good.
a little vinegar at the end, just kind of like makes it wow pop. So we're gonna taste this, see what it tastes like. Then we'll maybe add more salt and pepper, maybe a dash of lime.
Yeah.
Something. Okay, here we go. Mmm. Creamy.
Mm-hmm.
Really creamy. I'm gonna get a piece of the chicken. Oh. So moist and good.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a black bean in there. Definitely worth making. I want more salt in mine.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some black pepper
Yeah.
and a dash of lime. So you saw we put a teaspoon of salt in while we were cooking. I'm just gonna do like a little grind or two of finishing salt, a grind or two of black pepper, and then, did you shake it?
No.
All right, you better shake it.
Mm-hmm.
And a little tiny dash of lime juice or fresh lime, but sometimes I'm lazy. Just a tiny little drip. All right, let's see.
Also, if you don't like spicy things, this is not overly spicy.
Yeah,
I don't think it's spicy really at all.
Yeah, what would you say its spicy level is?
On a scale of like 1 to 5, it's a half a point.
Oh yeah, easily. It's
It's-
not spicy at all.
You've put so much broth in and so much cheese.
That's it.
There you
One
go.
little grind of salt, one little drip of lime juice. Oh. Next level.
I know.
Now, the recipe that she gave me did say you can do sour cream, you can do cilantro, slices of avocado,
Mm-hmm.
crunched up tortilla chips, any of those things. What else?
Yes. My husband and I do like spicy things, so we don't add any spice to the soup more than what the recipe says, but we will do a couple dashes of hot sauce on top. We've done sour cream. My husband, he loves queso. I think he's literally put a dollop of queso on top.
I respect it.
We just switch up what we put on it because it makes so much. If you change what topping you put on it or how you eat it a couple times, it does mix up the flavor.
Great recipe. So
Yeah,
good.
so good. Fun to make because it's fast and minimal mess. And
Easy.
yeah, so yummy.
So thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me. And we'll see you next time on Renee's Kitchen.